What is up, guys? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're covering some more am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below. But if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe and maybe that notification bell too, as it all really helps out our channel. And a huge thank you to each and every one of you for being here, taking the time out of your day to sit down and listen to me is absolutely crazy to me. Every day I wake up and I come down and I'm like, actually people comment on my video, watching these videos is absolutely insane. So thank you so much for your support and your well wishes towards my father. I'm tempted to give you a little story towards the end. I'm not sure if I will yet, because some of you have asked about what he has and all that sort of thing. So if you do want to listen, I will timestamp that at the end as well. But with that being said, let's get into today's stories. Much love, guys. Our first story comes from CVBNM122. Am I the arsehole for not contributing anymore to my daughter's college costs after years of child support that had a provision for a college fund? For almost 13 years, I was paying nearly 38% of my pre-tax income as child support for my daughter. My ex-wife was always assigned minimum wage despite her choice to stay at home while her husband worked. She has a higher earning potential than I do. Part of this child support was earmarked for a college fund, but it is up to my ex's discretion on how it gets invested. I had no say, despite fighting for that right. This support order had really made me suffer for years financially, but I never once missed a payment. My wife and I even delayed having kids, just so I could afford paying the support. My daughter turned 18 2 months ago, and I finally have the money to start saving up a college fund for my 2 younger children, who are 8-month-old twins, as well as get my retirement back on track. My daughter reached out to me last week, asking for a third of her college costs. I told her that it needs to come from the college fund her mother was saving. I then found out that due to some stupid decisions on my ex's part, there's only 13k in the fund, instead of what should have been nearly 95k. My daughter is innocent in this, but I can't keep draining my finances because of my ex's selfishness and bad decisions. This created a huge fight between me and my daughter. She then proceeded to go to my parents, who are now planning on selling some assets to pay for her education. And now my brother and sister have turned against me and saying that my daughter shouldn't be our parents' problem. But I'm refusing to sabotage my retirement and the younger kids' college. I'm so tired of all this. Everyone has turned against me, my wife and my 2 younger kids. I've been feeling so depressed. My daughter won't even talk to me anymore. Am I the asshole? Damn, man, I mean, I don't know too much about this kind of thing, especially it's based in the US, but surely you can't be responsible for that behaviour if she lost the money on God knows what. Isn't there some sort of like paperwork involved in this where she has to sign that she's going to look after the money and not lose it or spend it in any other way? Because surely you can't just give someone 100k like that and just let them do what they want with until the time comes when the daughter's going to use it. Surely there's got to be some sort of something she had to sign to look after it. So I'm hoping the comments in this one are going to educate me a little bit, so we're going to head straight down there to see what we can find. Miss Baseball 34 says, not the arsehole, you already paid for a college via investments. The fact that her mother lost it is not your fault, and I'm so tired of kids thinking their parents must pay for their college. Newsflash, college is not a right, it is a choice. Weird Crazy Cat Lady replies to this saying, higher education should be a right, and it is an absolute travesty that for so many access to higher learning is restricted due to lack of income. No, it's not OP's fault that his ex wasted money that he has already paid, but potentially denying his daughter access to education is not the answer. OP really needs to sit down with his daughter, have an honest discussion around what he already set in place and why that didn't work, and look at what he can do to assist that isn't going to put him in financial stress. At the very least, this might help his daughter understand that she is putting the blame on the wrong person. Luxemburger says, not the arsehole, you already paid into the college fund. Tell your parents not to help out since it was the ex-wife that gambled away all the money. And Mysterious System 680 says, it's their grandchild. I doubt they want her to lose out because of her mother's bad investments if they're in a position to help her. Based on what the OP has said about everyone hating him, his wife and their children, it wouldn't surprise me to learn that his parents disagree with his decision not to help his daughter with college. And Malin says, not the arsehole, your ex-wife spent almost all of the 100k you gave her for your kid's college fund on herself. She would rather live off of child support and her daughter's college fund than get a career and apply herself in life. You already paid the college costs up front, and your ex-wife literally stole that money from her daughter and spent it, but now everyone is mad at you? fuck that. The rage should be directed at your ex-wife who squandered her daughter's future for her own selfishness. Now, I turn this one to you guys. I'm still like, was there not something signed beforehand? Isn't she like legally got to look after that money in some way? But anyway, I turn it to you guys. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 1. And our next story comes from Idiot Dad TA. Am I the arsehole for telling my brother-in-law my daughter is ugly? The title sounds bad, but hear me out. My 37 male wife, 38 female, have a 9-year-old daughter, and my wife is also 7 months pregnant with our son. When our daughter was younger, she looked a lot like me, but as she aged, she started to look more and more like her mum. Please note that I have very, very manly features. I was having a beer with my brother-in-law in my backyard while our daughters played inside the house. We were getting a bit tipsy. It's fine since his wife can drive. We got talking about kids and how I wanted my son to take after me. He brought up the fact that our daughter started out like my clone, and I said, yeah, thank God she's slowly starting to look more and more like her mum. Can you imagine this? I point at my face on a teenage girl. Her life would suck. Well, my wife was in earshot because she was bringing us food. She dumped it in front of us and called me an arsehole for saying our daughter is ugly. She walked back to the house crying, and when I chased after her, she told me to stay away. Brother-in-law and sister-in-law left shortly after, and I did all the cleanup myself and put my daughter to bed. I wasn't super drunk, just a bit tipsy. When I went to sleep, my wife was still awake. She pretty much exiled me to the couch because apparently I think our daughter is ugly. I tried to apologise for that, but she wasn't having it. She's pregnant, so I didn't want to stress her out. I spent an uncomfortable night on the couch, and now my back hurts like hell. My wife and daughter are still asleep as I'm typing this. I don't think I did anything wrong, but am I the arsehole? Is this her hormones, or am I really callous for saying something like that? Edit, just to clarify, no food was wasted. By dumping it in front of us, I meant she angrily put it on the table and stormed off. She's not a monster. Update? Okay, I just want to clarify a few things. I have no self-confidence issues or anything. I think my looks are well above average for a guy, but I have really hard features and a resting angry face, so it really wouldn't look very good on a girl. Trust me, I know. My sister looks like me. My daughter has grown to resemble my wife a lot more than me. With my wife's softer features, except she has a resting bitch face, which hopefully scares off the boys. Just kidding. I know every dad says it, but my daughter is beautiful. Also, this is the first time my wife has actually kicked me out of bed after being together for over a decade. It's unlike her, so this is definitely a one-time thing. Also, what's the issue some people have with my wife serving me food? We have a very healthy relationship. I take care of her, she takes care of me. Isn't that how it's supposed to go? Don't sell me the whole power dynamic crap. That ain't for me. So on to the real update. After reading a few of the comments, I decided to make things right and apologise. She was still asleep, so I took my daughter to pick up some of her favourite waffles in our local diner and got her a usual order there. My daughter and I set it all up, and I woke my wife up with breakfast in bed. She still looked like she wanted to stab me, but she lightened up a bit when she saw the food. I sent my daughter out to watch Netflix and my wife and I to talk about what happened. I laid it on thick, as one Redditor suggested. I told her how I meant I had a very masculine features that I'm glad our daughter grew out of. How I was so happy she started to take after the most beautiful woman in the world. This is true. Apparently my wife thought I was calling her and our daughter ugly. No idea where that came from, but okay. I explained it all and how it went down. She had the pretending to be mad face that can melt anyone's heart, and she stuffed her face with food. I kissed her on the forehead and promised to make it up to her today, which was yesterday. I ended up having to take both of them out for lunch, ordered takeout for dinner, and ate a boatload of ice cream that night while watching movies together with our kid. Cherry on top, I actually got to sleep on a bed cuddling with the love of my life. Best night in a long time. Was I wrong? Was she wrong? Well, to be honest, none of that really matters anymore. It's behind us. Something like this isn't the hill I want to die on, and I'd rather sleep on a bed with my lovely wife than keep my pride intact, sleeping on a death couch fighting back pain. Thanks guys. I can't believe Am I the Arsehole post turned into relationship advice post. Lol. Now, my initial thoughts on this thing was that OP wasn't in the wrong anyway. He was like taking the mick out of himself. He was saying that he has very masculine features and doesn't want his daughter to look like him because of it, which kind of makes sense in my opinion, right? Am I wrong there? I don't know. But all I can say, he was drinking beer, so who knows? He was a little tipsy. She's pregnant. Hormones. That's not a good combination, right? That's where it all went wrong in this post, I think. But it sounds like OP made it up in the best way possible, bringing her food, showing her a bit of love. You know, it all makes sense in the end. But as always, never consider the update in the comments because it is probably posted after everyone's commented. So let's go to the comments below to see what we can find there. Civil Pomegranate says, yes and no, it is clear you didn't intend to insult your daughter. However, it's easy to say things when intoxicated, even tipsy. That sound alright in your head, but come out not quite right. I recommend waiting until she cools off and apologising to your wife, making it clear that you love your daughter and will make it a bad attempt at humour. Maybe take your daughter and her out to ice cream if they enjoy that. Just be kind and make an effort not to say things that are insensitive. It's a good habit to have in life anyway. 1 out of 5 on the arsehole scale. Maybe we should include an arsehole scale in the future. It might be something that you enjoy. Sapphire Kira says, not the arsehole. When your wife calms down, explain the context like you did on here. I don't even think you really called your daughter ugly. Just make a joke about her growing up looking like you. Sindri says, not the arsehole. What? You didn't even say anything remotely close to meaning you think your daughter is ugly. She clearly misunderstood or decided to twist your words to somehow make it out to be what she wanted it to be. Tumbleweed Acrobatic says, soft, you're the arsehole. I realise your jokes were more self-deprecating than pointed towards your daughter, but parents' low self-confidence has a way of rubbing off on their kids. My own mum would always trash talk her own appearance in the form of jokes, would tell me I'm lucky if I have my dad's skin, tone / hair, and constantly tried new diets to lose weight. I have a lot of my mum's features too, including body shape, so her jokes and behaviour directly shape my issues with food and dieting, even though she never directly told me to lose weight or put me on a diet. Being nice to yourself teaches your children to love themselves. Hating yourself, even in a joking way, teaches them to hate themselves. Some very good points there actually. But I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 2. And our next story is from Defiant Context. Am I the arse for asking for my wife for an hour of private time away from her and the kids each day? Some quick context. Happily married for 4 years, 2 kids aged 6 months and 2. Wife is a stay-at-home mum. I work full time. We split household duties pretty evenly. I do laundry, she cooks, etc. And I help with the kids during the day. Work from home due to COVID, and of course after work day is over. No complaints from me. The other day my wife was chatting with her friends and I overheard the wives complaining about their husbands not helping with the children at all. One plays video games 6 hours a day, the other is a sports fanatic. It sort of reminded me that I seriously haven't had more than a handful of moments to myself in the last 3 years since my wife became pregnant with our first. I've given up following all my favourite sports teams, never hang out with anyone anymore, life just completely consumed with work and domestic life. My friends are all childless, so no help there. Got me thinking maybe I deserved a little downtime. Not much, just enough to recharge. So I gently asked my wife if I can have an hour to myself each day. She flipped out, said I was selfish. She doesn't get any time off, why should I? Called me sexist for assuming that a man could avoid childcare. Preposterous since I'm doing the exact opposite now. To appease her, I just dropped the issue, but feeling kinda bitter. What do other fathers do? Am I the arsehole? Edit. Older kid is at daycare, younger one naps about 4 hours a day. Wife usually watches TV part of this time and does food prep the rest of the time. Edit 2. When I said I help out during the day, it might be 10 mins while wife is pooping. Too much info, or 45 minutes while she's getting groceries, or 20 minutes to rock the baby if her arms are tired. Not even split, but sorta adds up. I already had a peek in the comments on this one because I needed to educate myself a little bit because, you know, in these situations, it's so easy to step the wrong way. But I'm going to go straight to the comments anyway because I really did like some of the comments in the post below, some of them quite funny too. So we're going to go down there first. Just a Lil says, I heard my wife talking with her friends about how shitty their husbands are, so I decided that she doesn't deserve a good partner and I should be doing less. I swear to God, Reddit has only solidified every day for multiple reasons why not be having kids. Lol. Aggressive Pair replies to this saying, Reddit has made me so grateful that I have no interest in men. Imagine thinking you found a decent one, and then he's like, I see all these other men are terrible, I should be more terrible. Lozif says, it's proof that sexuality is not a choice, because if it was, I'd not be straight. Paulson MN says, unless you offer a system that allows her to have time off too, it's a soft, you're the arsehole. Now I personally, a lot of the comments below are saying the same sort of thing, that you're expecting too much time, like, I don't know, an hour a day, every day, to be getting away from your kids, especially at their ages at the moment. It's asking for too much. But at the same time, I do think both partners should be getting an equal break at some time, you know, in the week. I don't know, but there should be some scheduled downtime for each of them to just get away from it all. You know, people don't need to be surrounded by that all day. It's very stressful, and if you're locked into it as well, you'll start resenting each other. So I think at the same time, you need to get that scheduled in there somewhere. Even just getting babysitters and going out as a couple together to go out for a meal or something like that, right? It's totally normal behavior. But I don't know. So I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 3. And our next story is from Travelling Marzipan. Am I the arsehole for refusing to stop referring to my co-worker friend as work husband? I'm on mobile, sorry if formatting is off. I, 25 female, work in the hospitality industry, and as such don't have usual office type relationships with co-workers. I say we're all very close and work non-regular hours and are always in each other's business. I'm especially close to my friend Jake, 28 male, with whom we started working around the same time years ago, and have been through a bit of employee turnover in our workplace together. I'm not interested in Jake romantically, and as far as I'm aware, nor is he interested in me. About 2 years ago, we had Jess, 26 female, join our team, and she found our relationship hilarious and jokingly started referring to us as work wife and husband. It caught on, and that's what we've called each other since then. Last year, Jess brought her friend Amy, 26 female, to our after work drinks hangout. Amy and Jake hit it off. They started off casually, but once everything shut down, they got a lot closer. Jake has talked about her quite a bit, and I was excited for him because his last relationship was a while ago, and he hasn't clicked with a few girls he's gone on a date with. Also a note, last year in November, I was in a terrible accident, and I was out of work since then. Jess brought Amy right before my accident, so I didn't really have a chance to get to know her at all, as first meeting was with a large group, and she was new and a bit shy. Then I was in hospital, then everything went to shit. I recently was able to finally start working again, and our friends threw a welcome back dinner for me. At the dinner, a lot of people were saying to Jake if he was happy to have his work wife back, and that the two peas in a pod were finally reunited, etc. As we were wrapping up dinner and I went to the bathroom, Amy followed me and cornered me. She was unhappy to hear everyone referring to us as work husband and wife, and asked that I tell everyone to stop. I told her I'm sorry to hear that, and told her that I'd talk to Jake, as I didn't want to randomly demand everyone to stop. She said there is no need to talk to him since she's asking me, and I should respect her and her relationship. I politely told her that I couldn't do that. She got furious and said I'm a bitch who's trying to get into her relationship. Because how she approached me and things she said, now I'm refusing to even talk to Jake about it unless he brings it up, and I've started calling Jake hubby. Jess texted me tonight and said that I should have just dropped it since Amy is feeling insecure to see our friendship up close and might be feeling jealous. So I'm wondering if I'm the arsehole for being petty and not taking Amy's feelings into consideration. I don't think I am, but I wanted to get an impartial opinion as I haven't brought it up to anyone else to avoid drama in our friend group. Edit. I noticed from a few judgments that Amy might think there are romantic feelings involved in our friendship. I'm aromatic and Jess knows this. She's tried to set me up before, so Amy knows this as well. There has never been any kind of romantic anything happening between us. Edit 2. Thanks for all the judgments. This has been most helpful. I added me being aromatic not as a defense, but just to give everyone a clearer picture after seeing romantic feelings might be involved in a judgment. This happened just a bit ago, and I've worked with Jake only a few times, but I guess I knew it wasn't right, and that's why it's been bothering me enough to get people's opinions on the matter. I have work in an hour, and I'll be speaking with Jake and add an update on how it goes. And this was a day ago, and there's been no update as yet, but I'm going to put myself into the girlfriend's shoes, because, you know, I think if I was in that position and I had my girlfriend in front of me with a guy, and she was saying, oh yeah, my work husband, I don't think I'd be comfortable with that. Whether I'm insecure on that, I don't know, but I wouldn't be comfortable with that, and I wouldn't be happy with it, and I'd be asking either her to ask him to stop or vice versa, because, you know, that just wouldn't be cool in my eyes. And as I said, I don't know whether that's a jealousy thing, insecure, I don't know, but no, not for me, not for me. So I'm going to say you are the arsehole in this situation just because of that purpose, because I wouldn't like it myself. But you might have a different judgment on that, and we're going to have a look in the comments below to see what we can find. Edgy username 123 says, of course you can't be the arsehole for your friend's reactions, but you are the arsehole if you don't discourage it from here on out. He is now in a relationship. I personally find calling someone your work wife / husband is inappropriate, whether you both are single or not. It's a workplace, you should have never encouraged it. What did you expect to happen when one of you were no longer single? It was going to be weird for your SO. Mary Consigliere says, you're the arsehole. The whole work wife / work husband thing is super cringy. And in my experience, seeing it played out in real life, it almost always seems to be a pretext for two people who can't actually date to openly flirt with each other. A previously co-worker of mine used to post about his work wife more frequently on his social media than his actual wife, and honestly, it made me think less of him as a person. It's perfectly valid for this guy's girlfriend to be uncomfortable with this weird roleplay you have going on with him. I guarantee that in 10 years, you'll look back on this and be mortified. Edited to add, I will grant that Amy didn't approach this in an ideal manner, but your behaviour here is so much worse that I don't think it even rises to an everyone sucks here. I mean, your response to her telling you that this made her uncomfortable was for you to present a united front with Jake and tell her you'd discuss it with him later, like you would do if he was actually your husband, and then you started purposely calling him hubby in front of her to piss her off. I generally dislike the word trashy, but I can't think of a more fitting term to describe your behaviour here, i.e. being this territorial with someone else's romantic partner. What could you possibly get out of butting into a romantic relationship you're not involved with so inappropriately? You're not being the best version of yourself right now. Do better here. Now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. Have you guys ever used the work hubby, work wife kind of thing? And has it ever caused any issues? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 4. And some of you guys wanted to know about my father and his situation at the moment, what he has, all that kind of thing. So if you want to listen, now's the time. So basically earlier this year, my father was diagnosed with mesothelioma. I always pronounce that wrong, but basically it's a rare asbestos caused cancer. So asbestos causes it gets in the lining of your lungs and it sits dormant for X amount of years. Usually it starts to show its signs around 50 plus years, which has happened to my father. When my father was younger, I think when he was 17, he used to work in a car plant quite close to us, still active now, and he worked there as like a builder, so he's doing construction, demolition. They sort of done all sorts back then, very little health and safety, no mask, none of that sort of stuff, and asbestos was used widely back then. So they used it in welding, they used it in like building as fireproof because it was very fireproof at the time, and it was the amazing thing back then, and no one really researched, or knew that the damage that could be caused by it. So at the moment, that's where we're suspecting where he's picked it up, and this was earlier in this year. My dad was having trouble walking and things like that, so he was having trouble breathing because of it, and I took him to the doctors, and this is where they strongly suspected this is what it would be, and it turned out it was. So since then, he's had like a drain on his lung, which he has to have drained every week. He's gone through chemotherapy, which has absolutely ruined him in the last month. I mean, he's lost over 15 kilos in a month so far. In a month, it's taken him from like my normal dad walking around, and he talks so much, my dad, but he doesn't talk. He barely talks anymore. He's currently in bed bound because he can't leave bed because of various issues that this has caused. But we're trying to make the most of the time that we got left with him. Because unfortunately it is terminal. They said 9 to 13 months without chemo, or it'd be 12 to 14 months with chemo. He did have chemo. He had 3 sessions and he had to stop after that because he was getting so ill from it. Hopefully this is why he's sort of bedbound at the moment. We're hoping he's going to come out of it once the chemo's out of his system. But yes, we're just dealing with time at the moment, and we're just trying to make the most of the time we have with him. And with the last couple of years involved, it's just been an absolute mess. I've seen several family members die. I've held one before he passed away, so you know, it's been absolutely crazy. And I've had some people asking for more updates and stuff like that, and I'm not going to keep updating on this channel because, you know, a lot of people do not want to hear my personal issues on this channel. So I was thinking about doing some sort of blog or something like that separate from all this. I don't know, but we'll have a think about that in the future. But thank you for being here once again, guys. It is truly appreciated, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.